Welcome to the deep dive. We're going behind the scenes of the 5th District economy today.
Think of it as a personal briefing, straight from the source.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and that source is the January 2025 Beige Book.
Oh, yeah, the Beige Book.
It's really a fascinating report that gathers insights from businesses across the district.
Real-world insights.
Real-world insights.
I like it.
Yeah, so if you happen to be living in Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, North and South Carolina, and the District of Columbia.
Oh, so this is for me.
This one's for you.
Perfect.
Yeah, this deep dive is all about your economic neighborhood.
Awesome.
So, think of the Beige Book as that, Main Street perspective on the economy.
Okay.
Instead of just those, dry statistics, it's like a collection of on-the-ground observations from businesses across a whole bunch of different sectors.
So we're really getting into, the nitty-gritty here.
Yeah, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. And this Beige Book, revealed some pretty interesting whispers from those break rooms. Oh, I want to hear all the gossip.
Yeah, there's some gossip going around.
This dish.
We're talking signs of consumer anxiety, maybe a potential skills gap being magnified by AI.
Oh, interesting.
And even some businesses struggling to adapt to these changing economic tides.
Oh, man, there's a lot to unpack here.
There's a lot to unpack. We'll be diving into all of that and more. But let's start with the big picture first.
Okay.
The overall health of the 5th District economy.
What's the pulse check saying?
Well, on the surface, it seems like it's pretty steady with modest growth since the last report.
Okay.
Consumer spending is up, particularly in retail, travel, and tourism.
So things are moving.
Things are moving. Yeah. But, there's a nuance here that I find pretty fascinating.
Okay, lay it on me. I love the nuance.
Right. So while people are still spending out there,
Yeah.
there are some signs that people are starting to be more frugal.
Ooh.
Yeah. The report mentioned that consumers are opting for cheaper wine these days.
Yeah. Manufacturers are saying that people are more price sensitive, and there's even been some hesitancy with those big ticket purchases like boats.
Makes sense. Boats are a luxury.
They are a luxury. So, all this suggests that while the economy is growing, consumers are definitely becoming more cautious.
So are we seeing a disconnect between the overall economic data
Potentially, yeah.
and how people are actually feeling?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, the Beige Book highlights that, those looming concerns about potential port strikes,
Right.
tariffs, and just general economic uncertainty could be driving that cautious consumer behavior.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
People are nervous, so they're being more careful with their money.
exactly.
Okay, let's shift gears to the labor market because
Yeah.
everybody wants to know about jobs.
Yeah.
Are businesses hiring?
Yeah. Are wages keeping up with inflation?
What's the vibe?
Yeah, what's the vibe? So the report reveals a little bit of a paradox here.
Ooh, I love a good paradox.
Yeah, a little bit of a paradox.
Lay it on me.
So employment figures remain essentially unchanged.
Okay.
Yet some companies, particularly in specialized fields like engineering, are really struggling to find qualified candidates.
So is this just like a classic case of a skills mismatch?
It's a little more nuanced than that.
Okay.
Yeah, the Beige Book paints kind of a concerning picture,
All right.
The rise of AI and automation seems to be kind of exacerbating that skills gap,
Yeah.
Pushing some workers into lower paying roles because their existing skills are becoming obsolete.
So are we witnessing the early signs of a workforce being left behind by all this new technology?
It's a trend worth watching closely.
Okay.
Let's talk about prices, though.
Ooh, prices.
Everyone's feeling the pinch of inflation these days.
I know. Tell me about it.
So is the Beige Book offering us any relief on that front?
Please.
Well, the good news is that we're not seeing runaway inflation.
Okay.
The report indicates moderate year-over-year price growth overall,
Okay.
with slightly higher increases in the non-manufacturing sector.
So some things are increasing faster than others.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where those tariffs could really come into play,
Oh.
Manufacturers in particular anticipate a faster pace of price increases in the coming months, and they're saying tariffs are a key driver.
Okay, so that means our everyday goods,
Yeah, everyday goods.
they could become more expensive.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
All right, it's a domino effect, isn't it?
It is a domino effect.
One thing leads to another.
Yeah, and speaking of challenges,
Yeah.
the manufacturing sector itself seems to be at a crossroads.
Interesting. Okay, break it down for us.
Okay, so while overall manufacturing activity saw a slight decline,
Okay.
the report reveals a fascinating dichotomy.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So certain manufacturers, especially those dealing in premium goods like wine textiles and boats,
Okay, luxury items.
yeah, those luxury items, they're experiencing a slowdown.
Well,
Consumers are becoming more price sensitive, and those high borrowing rates are making those big ticket purchases less appealing.
it makes sense people are tightening their belts a bit.
Yeah, they're tightening their belts. But amidst this slowdown, there are definitely pockets of resilience.
Okay, so there's some hope out there.
There is some hope, absolutely. Manufacturers in areas experiencing population growth are actually seeing order
Oh,
increases.
wow.
Yeah, the report cites a cabinet maker in North Carolina as an example.
Interesting.
As more people move into an area, the demand for housing and related goods goes up.
So location, location, location.
Yeah, exactly. So location and adaptability seem to be really key for manufacturers to thrive in this current environment.
All right, and let's talk about those looming port and transportation challenges,
Yes.
because that has the potential to really ripple across the whole economy.
Absolutely. And this is where things get particularly interesting.
Okay.
The report kind of paints this mixed picture when it comes to import cargo volume.
Okay.
Some ports are seeing slight increases, others slight decreases.
Okay.
And there are these fascinating sector-specific trends that are emerging.
Like, give me the juicy detail.
Okay, so at one port, auto imports are down significantly,
Wow.
while at another port, auto parts imports are up moderately.
Okay, that's interesting. So what's going on there?
Well, this divergence in auto-related imports suggests a potential shift in domestic manufacturing.
Okay.
So while we're importing fewer finished cars, the rise in auto parts could signal a move towards more domestic assembly.
So they're making the cars here instead of bringing them in.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. And I can't forget about that peculiar detail about paper waste exports to East Asia significantly decreasing.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
What's going on with that?
So even these seemingly niche markets like paper waste are feeling the effects of all these global economic shifts.
Wow.
So this decrease could point to, changing consumption patterns in East Asia, or maybe a move towards, more sustainable practices. Who knows?
So it just goes to show you how, interconnected global trade truly is.
It really is, yeah.
Okay, now back to those potential labor disruptions on the West Coast.
Yes.
How are those anxieties playing out in the ports?
Ports are definitely feeling the pressure.
Okay.
Retailers wary of those potential strikes by the International Longshoremen Association.
Right.
They're rerouting cargo to the East Coast.
Smart.
It's a preemptive move to avoid disruptions and keep those supply chains flowing.
Okay, so there's a little bit of a logistical scramble happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, definitely behind the scenes.
What about the trucking industry? How are they navigating this landscape?
Not so smoothly, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the report kind of describes this, freight recession.
The freight recession.
With flat volumes and a disappointing retail peak season.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one large trucking firm even mentioned that, they're struggling to balance maintaining market share with the need to increase prices on contracts.
Yeah, to keep up with costs.
Yeah, exactly, to keep up with those rising costs.
Right.
So, is this freight recession just a temporary blip, or could it signal, a deeper problem within the transportation sector?
Yeah, makes you wonder.
Yeah, it really does.
And then on top of that, the report highlights skyrocketing insurance premiums impacting the trucking industry as well.
Yeah, those insurance premiums.
This is forcing companies to increase their deductibles and take on more financial risk.
Yeah, more whiffs.
So it's just adding another layer of complexity and uncertainty
Exactly.
to their operations.
Yeah.
So tough road ahead for
Yeah.
the trucking industry.
Yeah, it's a tough road ahead for them.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit to retail travel and tourism, because it seems like those sectors are faring a bit better.
Comparatively, yeah.
Right.
The report shows moderate growth in consumer spending,
Okay.
with increased retail sales and shopper traffic during the holidays.
So people were out and about spending money.
They were out and about spending money, but, those concerns about potential port worker strikes and tariffs,
They're still there.
they're still lingering. Yeah. Potentially casting a shadow on future growth.
So it's kind of like a wait and see approach.
It is a wait and see, yeah.
All right, and before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's touch on real estate and construction trends.
Oh, yes.
What's happening in that arena?
All right, so residential real estate is experiencing that expected winter slowdown,
Okay.
but there's a fascinating trend emerging in the luxury market.
Ooh, luxury market. Tell me more.
So agents in Virginia and South Carolina are reporting an uptick in high-end home sales,
Wow.
those over $1 million.
So people are still buying those million-dollar homes.
They're still buying them, yeah, and buyers in that segment don't seem to be deterred by limited inventory or higher mortgage rates.
So the luxury market's still humming along.
It's still humming along.
What about the overall outlook for the housing market in 2025? Any predictions?
Most agents are pretty optimistic. They
Okay.
anticipate more sellers entering the market in the coming months, which could ease some of that inventory pressure.
Okay, that's good news for buyers who have been, frustrated with the limited options.
Absolutely. But, there are also concerns about potential policy impacts on the housing market.
Right, like what kind of impact?
Worries about those ripple effects of policy shifts on government workers, immigration, and those ever-present
Oh
tariffs.
yeah, those tariffs.
So these factors could create uncertainty for both buyers and sellers in the coming year.
Okay, so it's a bit of a wait and see approach for the housing market as a whole.
It is a wait and see.
All right, now what about commercial real estate and construction? Any noteworthy trends in that space?
Yeah, so commercial real estate activity saw a slight uptick as buyers and sellers rushed to close deals before year-end.
Okay.
Vacancy rates remain low for industrial and retail spaces,
Okay.
which is a positive sign. However, vacancy rates are higher for lower-grade office space, suggesting a continued shift away from traditional office settings.
Yeah, people are still working from home.
Exactly. Yeah. And what about new construction projects?
Yeah, are those picking up steam?
Not really.
Well,
High construction costs are making it difficult for new projects to get off the ground.
makes sense.
So while existing projects are wrapping up, we're not seeing a surge in new starts.
Okay, so those costs are a major hurdle.
They're a major hurdle.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything else noteworthy in the real estate and construction realm?
Yeah, what else is going on?
Well, rental rates are on the rise in Virginia and Maryland.
Oh, wow.
Properties are becoming more turnkey, meaning fewer concessions for renters, which translates to higher prices.
So if you're renting, expect to pay more.
Yeah, unfortunately. And of course, we can't forget the lingering impact of Hurricane Helene.
Right, the storm caused significant damage in parts of the district.
It did, yeah.
How is that recovery effort affecting the real estate market?
Well, Asheville, North Carolina is starting to see some market activity return,
Okay.
but areas around Boone are lagging behind. Look, it takes time to recover from a natural disaster of that magnitude.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Any positive developments emerging from the hurricane's aftermath?
Interestingly, Asheville is experiencing a drop in industrial and retail vacancies as displaced businesses reopen. Office vacancies are also declining as government agencies and engineering firms mobilize in the area to assist with the recovery efforts.
That's good.
Yeah, so amidst the challenges, there are these glimmers of hope and resilience.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. It speaks of the strength and adaptability of businesses and communities in the face of adversity.
I like that.
Yeah.
Power through.
Power through.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We've been exploring some really fascinating and at times concerning trends in the Fifth District economy.
Yeah, we have.
From that shift towards consumer frugality
Right.
to, the potential for this widening skills gap
Yeah.
fueled by AI.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack here.
There is, and, we've only just scratched the surface
Right.
to understand the full picture. We need to look at the financial bedrock of the economy,
Okay.
the banking and finance sector.
All right, so give us the financial lowdown.
What?
What's the Beige Book telling us about the health of our banks? Are they lending? Are people borrowing?
Okay, so the report reveals some pretty intriguing insights into the mindset of both lenders and borrowers.
Ooh.
While loan demand has seen a modest increase, mainly driven by consumer lending for real estate and autos,
Okay.
there's a palpable sense of caution in the air.
Okay, so despite low interest rates,
Yeah.
people are hesitant to take on more debt.
Exactly. Low rates make borrowing more attractive.
Right.
But businesses and consumers alike are proceeding cautiously.
Yeah.
They're acutely aware of, the economic uncertainties we discussed earlier
Right.
and are weighing their options carefully.
Yeah, it's like everyone's holding their breath a little bit, waiting to see which way the wind blows.
It really is, yeah.
Now, what about loan delinquency levels? Any cause for concern there?
The report does point to a slight uptick in delinquencies,
Yeah.
primarily in consumer loan portfolios.
Okay.
While it's not a major red flag yet,
Okay.
it does serve as a reminder that financial stability can shift quickly,
Right.
and those broader economic forces we talked about
Yeah.
have a real impact on individuals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It really underscores the importance of having a financial cushion, being prepared for those unexpected bumps in the road.
Yeah, be prepared.
Now let's move on to the non-financial services sector.
Yeah.
This is a broad category encompassing everything from IT and consulting to professional services.
It is a big one.
What's the overall sentiment in this space?
So the Beige Book paints kind of a subdued picture.
Okay.
Non-financial service providers are facing a slowdown,
Okay.
reporting relatively flat revenues and a hesitancy among clients to commit to new projects.
Okay, so while some sectors are showing signs of growth, others are stuck in neutral.
Yeah, stuck in neutral.
What's driving this slowdown in non-financial services?
The report points to a few factors.
Okay.
Clients are tightening their budgets, delaying projects, and adopting that, wait and see approach.
Oh, the dreaded wait and
The
see.
dreaded wait and see. Yeah. And, this uncertainty is trickling down to the workforce as well. One IT firm mentioned they've been holding on to staff in hopes of improvement, but may face tough decisions in the new year if demand doesn't pick up.
Wow. It really highlights the human cost of economic uncertainty.
It does.
It's not just abstract numbers. We're talking about people's livelihoods and careers hanging in the balance.
Absolutely. And it underscores the interconnectedness of our economy.
Right.
A slowdown in one sector can create a ripple effect,
Yeah.
impacting businesses and workers across the board.
Okay, so we've explored the key sectors, analyzed the trends, and delved into the nuances of this Fifth District snapshot.
We have.
What does it all mean for our listeners?
Yeah. What are the key takeaways?
What are the key takeaways from this economic puzzle?
So I think the overarching theme seems to be one of cautious optimism.
Okay, cautious optimism.
Yeah. There are pockets of growth and resilience out there,
Right.
but those concerns about tariffs, potential port disruptions, and that, pervasive economic uncertainty
Right.
are definitely weighing on business sentiment.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, isn't it?
It is a mixed bag, yeah.
Some positive signs, some potential headwinds. So how do we make sense of it all?
That's where reports like the Beige Book become so valuable. They provide that nuanced on-the-ground perspective.
Right.
Those whispers from the break rooms.
Yes, I love those.
Right.
All the juicy details.
Exactly. They really help us understand the complex forces shaping our economic landscape.
It's like having a backstage pass to the economy.
It is.
Getting those insider insights.
Exactly. And, we've thrown a lot of information at you.
We have.
And we want to make sure it's relevant to your life. So
Yes.
let's shift gears and talk about you.
Okay.
So we uncovered some intriguing trends in consumer behavior, particularly that shift towards frugality.
Right.
We saw it with, the wine example, consumers switching to cheaper brands. We're seeing it with manufacturers noting increased price sensitivity.
Right.
So how might this shift in consumer behavior impact your own personal finances or investment decisions?
Yeah. Are you tightening your belt as well? Are
Yeah.
you reconsidering those big ticket purchases? It's a question worth pondering.
Yeah, it is.
And while we're on the topic of you, let's revisit another key trend from the Beige Book.
Okay.
The impact of AI and automation on the job market.
Right. We talked about how outdated skills and the rise of AI are forcing some job seekers into lower paying roles.
Right.
It's a stark reminder that the nature of work is changing.
Yes.
And we need to adapt.
Absolutely. So this brings us to another crucial question for our listeners.
Yeah.
If you work in a field impacted by AI, what steps can you take to stay ahead of the curve?
Right. How can you ensure that your skills remain in demand?
It's about being proactive, embracing lifelong learning, and perhaps even considering retraining or upskilling to future-proof your career. All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the Fifth District economy.
Yeah.
We've been exploring, those whispers from the break rooms.
Yes, we have.
Analyzing trends and trying to, make sense of this complex economic landscape.
It's complex for sure.
It is, and we've challenged you to think about how these trends might be playing out in your own life.
Yeah.
From your personal finances to your career trajectory.
Absolutely.
We've covered a lot of ground, from the manufacturing slowdown to those glimmers of hope in the real estate sector. But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to kind of bring it all back to the big picture.
Yeah, the big picture.
The Fifth District economy is just one piece of the national economic puzzle.
It is one piece. Yeah.
But it's an important piece.
It's a big piece.
The trends we see here in this region often foreshadow, broader national trends.
They do.
So let's zoom out for a moment. How might these developments in the Fifth District economy affect national economic trends or even your own local community?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is the million-dollar question.
The million-dollar question. Think about those shifting consumer habits that we discussed. If consumers across the country are becoming more price conscious,
Right.
delaying big purchases, what does that mean for overall economic growth?
You would think it would potentially lead to a slowdown in certain sectors.
It's definitely a possibility, yeah.
Right. And what about the impact of AI and automation on the workforce?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
If those trends continue to accelerate, could we see like a widening skills gap on a national scale?
Something to think about.
Yeah, these are the types of questions we need to be asking ourselves.
We do.
So what can our listeners do? How can we navigate these uncertain economic waters and make informed decisions?
Well, I think it comes down to awareness.
That's true.
Adaptability and a willingness to embrace lifelong learning.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Lifelong learning.
So the Beige Book gives us a glimpse, into the forces at play,
Right.
but it's up to each of us to connect the dots and chart our own course.
Yeah, we can't just sit back and let things happen.
No, we can't.
We have to be proactive.
Absolutely.
So that's a great point. We can't simply be passive observers.
Right.
We need to be active participants
Yes.
in shaping our economic future.
Our economic future.
Yeah. Exactly. Whether you're a business owner, an investor, or just someone trying to make ends meet, having that economic awareness can be incredibly empowering.
Yeah, it is empowering.
It allows you to make, informed decisions about your career,
Your finances.
your finances, and your future.
Your future.
So we hope this deep dive has given you a clearer understanding of the Fifth District economy, its potential impact on your life,
Right.
and the tools to navigate these complex economic waters.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed it.
We did. And, remember, the full Beige Book report is available online if you want to explore, the data in more depth.
Yeah, go check it out.
Go check it out. But even more importantly,
Yeah.
we encourage you to keep those conversations going. Talk to your friends, your colleagues, your family about these economic trends
Yeah.
and how they might be impacting your community.
Yeah, talk about it.
Exactly. The more we understand about the forces shaping our world,
Yeah,
the better equipped we'll be to navigate them.
we will.
So stay curious, stay engaged, and keep asking those tough questions.
And who knows? Maybe you'll even uncover some intriguing whispers from your own break room.
Ooh, I like that, all right? Until next time, this has been The Deep Dive, your guide to understanding the complex world around us.